Today we're going to look at the top 5 calf ropers in the world and how their Hooeys are different than others. First, we got Shad Mayfield. Second, we have Ty Harris. Third, we have Haven Medjid. Fourth, we got Riley Webb. And coming in fifth right now is John Douch. Maybe the most important part of tying a calf is the Hooey. And if you go back and you watch the top 5 guys in the world, you're going to see each one of them does their Hooey just a little bit different. It's weird how you can be in the top 5 in the world, yet do something just a little bit different and still be successful. But I want to highlight how each one is doing something different. Without further ado, let's start with the number 5 cowboy in the world, John Douch. John Douch's style of the Hooey is that whenever he goes to Hooey, he's going to pinch off the Hooey with his thumb and his pointer finger, allowing his 3 fingers to reach through the Hooey and grab the string. He then is going to pull the Hooey through with his palm facing up, but he's going to go straight down the legs. So he's going to grab with his 3 fingers and pull it straight down the legs, hand up. This is his technique, and honestly, it's one of the ways that I tie calves too. You're going to see he strings it again. He's going here. He's going to pinch off the string with the finger and the thumb, use the 3 fingers to pull the Hooey through to finish the tie. We're going to take another look at a run here at the NFR where he does the exact same thing. But let's not stop there. Let's go look at a man who arguably has tied more calves in 6 than anybody else, Riley Webb. And you're going to see his technique is a little bit different. Unlike John Douch, what Riley is going to do is he's going to grab the Hooey with all of his hand, but then he's going to reach his whole hand in there for the Hooey. He's actually going to come off the Hooey instead of having it pinched off like John did. So this is interesting, right? You would think that he's going to lose the power of keeping the calf's legs up in the Hooey, but he's able to reach in there every time and make sure he's got a hold of it. And I think this makes one of the more consistent Hooeys because he makes sure he reaches his hand in there. I know personally, whenever I tie like John Douch, I have the tendency to not actually get my hand all the way in there or get my hand to the string for the Hooey. And Riley does a great job of this. So if I was someone struggling to get my Hooey, I would look at Riley Webb on how he gets his hand really in there. Now let's go to Haven Medjid. Not only does Haven now hold the NFR world record for the fastest calf tied at 6.4 seconds, but every time I watch him, he's very deliberate, very sharp, and very tight when he ties his calves. Hardly any mistakes are made, so let's check out his technique. What I love about the progression of these videos is that you're actually going to see that Haven is a mix between John and Riley. Let's see his wraps here. You see he's going to kind of grab hold like John does, then he reaches through like Riley does. This is a good video right here to watch. Let's watch that one again. What you're always going to notice with Haven is he's always very squared up and he pulls on that string all the time, which keeps that string out in front of him, allowing that Hooey to be set up. But I got to say, the difference with Haven, even though he's kind of a mix of Riley and John, is that instead of just grabbing the string with 3 fingers like John, he actually pinches it off still, but he's grabbing it with all 4 fingers when he comes through. You can really see it on this next run right here. So he's pinching it off, but he's going to grab with all 4 fingers and pull through. And that's kind of the distinction with Haven. I hope you have stayed tuned in because this next guy, Ty Harris, he's something to watch because his Hooey is actually completely different than all the other guys. So I want you to pay attention to what he does different. Ty is going to adopt some of what Riley does where he actually reaches in and grabs the Hooey, but you're going to see he actually comes off the Hooey completely and then turns his hand over, grabs the string, and pulls it through. So watch this really carefully. Comes off the string right about here, turns his hand completely over, grabs it, and pulls it down through, hand down and low on the legs. Let's go over it one more time because you might miss it. And this wouldn't be a just video if I didn't show Ty Harris winning the American and the $600,000 with this style of Hooey. Check it out. So you might be thinking, wow, these are the top 4 guys. What's the number 1 guy in the world look like? Well, let's take a look at number 1, Shad Money Mayfield. When we look at Shad's technique, it's going to be very similar to Haven Medjid's. He's going to go ahead and get the Hooey with that thumb and that finger, pinch it off, and then he's going to reach his hand through and pull it in there. He's going to use all 4 fingers, so the extension of his hand in there to pull that Hooey down. And it's no secret with this technique that both Shad and Haven have that it's consistent, it's tight, And they make sure that they don't miss the Hooey very often. You can see he goes in there with that form and creates the consistency to win over and over. I think now begs the question, what are our takeaways? What are we going to take away from the top 5 guys in the world that are going to help us become better tie-down ropers? So let's start with John Douch. It's hard to name just one thing, but if you're going to take something away from John Douch, I would say number 1 is his strong vise on the Hooey, which keeps the legs up and the Hooey open during the tie. John does a great job with his thumb and pointer finger of creating the vise of the Hooey so the Hooey's able to stay open and keeping those legs from bouncing up and down. So what should we take away from Riley? I think Riley does a great job of creating freedom to create a big Hooey, which this ensures the ability for his whole hand to go into the Hooey, to the string, grab it, and pull it through every single time. So I think he's someone, if you're struggling with getting your Hooey, you keep missing it, or it keeps getting too tight on you, I would start looking at how Riley ties his calves. One takeaway with Haven is that he grabs the string with his 4 fingers when he pulls it through. This ensures his Hooey gets pulled down super tight. I always admire how deliberate and how tight Haven ties. He's very consistent, very proven, and this is something I would try to implement into my roping as well. With Ty Harris, look, one thing if you're having a problem with is hanging your Hooey. Your fingers keep getting in there, you hang it when you come up. Ty Harris does a great job of reaching his hand in there, completely turning it around and pulling it through. So there's no chance that he's going to be tempted to even hang his hand on his Hooey. So it creates more consistency. And he's a guy that I would try to look at if I'm trying to fix that problem. Outside of being an absolute machine, what can we take away from Chad Mayfield? Well, I think the big thing with Chad is he generates the best mix, meaning he maximizes the best technique for the best outcome overall. He incorporates a lot of what all these guys are doing. He has made it his own, and he stays super consistent with everything. Hey, but that's not all. I've created a subscription training course for calf ropers like you and me. We have over 140 in-depth training videos, and it increases each week. My goal is to shave seconds off your time, increase your rankings, and to fix your performance issues. If you're interested, go to my website right now. And I look forward to helping you accomplish your goals.